Thank you, Chief, for your testimony. From my perspective, I guess what I am trying to understand in terms of the law enforcement perspective is, I was a prosecutor before I came to the legislature, and one of the things that was the most important to me was my prosecutorial discretion. The decision on which cases to prosecute, which cases to take to court, which cases to plea, which cases not to plea. And I, in talking to the members of the law enforcement community that worked with me in those days and even now, one of the things that they talk about is the discretion to make a decision, whether it be on the scene or otherwise. Isn't discretion a huge part of policing?
Very much so. I served as the commander of the training academy for the past 3 years, right before I was promoted in January to this position. And one of the things that we start instilling in the cadets early on is the fact that they have discretion and that they should use it, because as a police officer out on the street, you're going to see all kinds of crime or things that could be a crime, traffic violations, for instance. You're going to see traffic violations all day, every day. But you're a patrol officer. Can you spend your entire day writing every ticket for every traffic violation you see, or should you be making those robberies or sexual assaults or murders or whatever, patrolling the neighborhoods?
So it's a question of priority in terms of your time.
Right.
And so
we need to use
discretion versus somebody's robbing a bank. Robbing the bank is more important than catching the speeder.
Right.
And so in this instance, if a policy is developed by a city that says immigration isn't our priority is to get people who are charged with felony criminal offenses, it seems to me that would be a policy that would be in violation of the statute. Would it not? Because it would say immigration is not our priority. We want you to concentrate. If Chief McManus says, I want you to concentrate on felony offenses, then there will be a lawsuit by somebody who says, well, wait a minute, I want to concentrate on, or we want you to concentrate on immigration offenses. And suddenly there's no discretion anymore. Even though in theory you have discretion, there's no discretion anymore, because at that point people start complaining that we want you to do immigration offenses. We want you to, or even somebody on the force would say, I don't want to be assigned to this unit. I want to be doing immigration cases.
Right, and that's where we talked about it, taking the discretion away from the chief. He does have priorities. Property crime is very high in San Antonio. Our murder rate is somewhat high, and those are the things that he would like the department to be focusing on, not on immigration issues. And as we've said already, if an officer decides to go against that directive or that direction that's given by the chief doesn't have any recourse to do anything about it, except for if he's willing to do something.
And I understand Mr. Guerin's point about this doesn't require you
I do as well.
But it just prohibits you from not doing something on the other hand. And to me, there's not that much difference. Because what ends up happening is, A, you have an issue with people who think you're not doing enough and can now go to the Attorney General under this statute, under this proposed bill, and go to the Attorney General and complain to the Attorney General that you're doing X, even though you're just setting priorities, especially in a limited budget. And number two, the truth is that all of us get our work done on the basis of reputation, whether you're a businessman or a lawyer. If you have a good reputation, you get your work done. If you can't have a successful business if you have a bad reputation. And so in terms of your reputation as an agency with a significant number of the community, your reputation goes down significantly if suddenly you're forced to prioritize stuff that isn't as important as a murder or a rape or a robbery.
That would be true, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Thank you. We have a letter here from the chief that you brought us, correct?
Correct.
And I think this, I was listening and thinking about my good friend Chairman Guerin's comments, and I just want to ask you briefly about the last sentence or so here that in this letter. It says, Local police agencies lack the resources and training to enforce immigration laws that are clearly the responsibility of the federal government. Violent and property crime, quality of life in our communities, and answering calls for service are our primary responsibilities, not enforcing federal immigration laws. So, at the end of the day, your opposition to this bill is not because you're in favor of not enforcing undocumented citizens. You're opposed to this bill because what this bill would do, it would preclude you from doing your mission. Is this your mission statement here at the top?
That is.
Could you read it to me, please?
I don't have my glasses, but I'll try.
I'll read it to you then. The mission of the San Antonio Police Department is to provide quality, community-oriented services while building problem-solving partnerships with our citizens to prevent crime, reduce fear, and enhance the quality of life throughout our community, always treating people with dignity, fairness, and respect. That sounds like a pretty darn good mission statement.
I think it is.
And it doesn't distinguish between where the people are from, does it?
No, it specifically says people, not...
People, because they could be visitors, too.
Right.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, members. Any other questions?